so much. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. So I'll be really quick. I hope the slides are ready. I'm very happy that I spoke after those wonderful ladies, and then the talks we had from Grow Me and also from Mr. Maximus, because I think he's already giving the backdrop for what I want to speak about. So for the past 1 year, I've been doing something called the Rivers 2050 Vision. Next slide. In 2022, during the last World Cup, I was traveling to India, and we stopped in Qatar. I don't even know Qatar. You should know them, the war place they are fighting war now. So we stopped in Qatar, and I've heard about Qatar before that trip, but when we landed there in Qatar, I was wearing my Made in Port Harcourt shirt. I couldn't believe the things I could see, because they had, tall buildings, driverless trains, all of these things that you imagine in sci-fi movies. And it was even much more surprising because if you put Qatar and River State side by side, we're actually the same size, so 11,000 square kilometers. They have natural gas, we have natural gas. They have oil, we have oil. We even have more human capital than them in the sense that we have 9 million people and they have about 2-point-something million people. And they are now in the desert with heat and sand. But we have much more than oil. We have silica, glass sand, loamy soil, everything. And so I started to wonder, what are they doing that we're not doing here? How are they looking that way and we are looking the way we are? In the next slide, you will see that every country, region, state that has been able to develop themselves, they all have something called a development plan or vision, right? If you go to the UAE, they have a 100-year plan for the next 100 years from 1971 to 2071. Qatar has a plan till 2030. Kigali in Rwanda has a plan to 2050. Even Lagos has a plan to 2052. Next slide. You will see that here for us, the last time we had a long-term plan in River State, a long-term vision, River State was 50 years ago, when we had our first military governor, who, by the way, was in his 20s. So he was as young as me and you, sitting here when he was governor of the state. And it was that plan that led to all of the things that we have, this Secretariat building, Points Block, Reason Palm, the West Africa Glass Company that's now defunct, and so many more. So it means for 50 years, as a state, we stopped thinking. Yet we have all of these smart people, all of these geniuses, right? People like me and you who are building solutions. So it got me worried, and I discovered more that what we're lacking, one of our biggest challenges is elite consensus. This is something that all of the countries and regions that have developed have been able to create. That's Singapore in the 1960s. That's Singapore in 2020. Same place, right? Because the elites there, me and you, people like me and you, have come together and said, it doesn't matter who is in power. Politics doesn't really matter. Whoever wins the election doesn't really matter. What matters is all of us, whether you're in this party or this tribe or that tribe, this is what we want to see in the next 20 or 30 years. And we're lacking that as a state. Next slide. So in February, before this time, I advocated for the state government to do a long-term plan. Nobody took it seriously. So February last year, we launched the Rivers 2050 Vision as a hope and as a plan that, just like they've developed themselves in those countries, let's put it to test. Let's bring people in tech, people in agriculture, people in all of these fields, and let's brainstorm and develop a development blueprint for the next 25 years. The book will be launched, and you're all invited. First of all, before the book is launched in November, we've been holding several engagements on different topics. We even have a conversation today on business and investment. So they're all online, rivers2050.org. You find all the discussions, all the previous videos we've held as well. So please join us, and the book will be launched in November of 2023. 6. So please do well to join us. We're going to bring all the state leaders, and we'll be challenging ourselves as the next generation to ensure we can achieve that vision. Next slide. So I'll just share now in the next 5 minutes 5 ways I think we can apply technology and innovation, as all of us here, to building the kind of future and the state we want to see. And I'll give you some 5 scenarios, right? 5 scenarios that I think we can apply technology into. One thing we have done is we have trained Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini on River State. So if you start getting any good responses from these various LLMs, it's because of the work we've done. We've trained them for the past few months and given them information about River State, its people, its unique, its uniqueness in Nigeria, and also asked it to estimate and envision what is possible for all of the various sectors. On our website, you'll see so much more, but these are just a couple of them, of what is estimating and imagining as what our future could look like. Next slide. One of them is in education. This is what our schools look like. Not all our schools, obviously, but many of our schools in rural communities look like this. Bad roofs, no windows, no desks for the teacher, kids learn on the ground. This is from Eche. And ChatGPT feels that in 25 years we can be here, where our students have laptops, they learn in a conducive environment, they have smart screens and boards. Now, a question I want to ask you is, using your innovation and technology mind, what do we need to do from here to get here? What tools do we need to build? What problems do we need to solve? Taking cognizance that not everything is a software problem, right? I know we're very software people, but not everything is a coding problem. What problems do we need to solve that we are seeing here as our today to get to this part that is predicted as our future? Does anyone want to try? Anybody? Just random. Just feel free to just speak randomly. What should we do? Clearly, we need to get desk first, right? So this key should not be on the ground because we can see desk here in this other one. What else should we do? Huh? Repairs. Kids can be learning. So the kids learning in a place where the roof is bad. If they become leaders, they will think it's normal to be in a place with bad ceiling, right? So it means we need to also fix that. Structural repairs. Thank you. Windows, ceiling. What else? Power. Thank you. I was waiting for that. Power. Because what's powering all these things? Right? It's power. So you need to also fix power. So power is a kind of a hacking thing that we'll see across the stock. Next slide. In the next slide, you see Estonia, very small European country. They've been able to digitize almost every single thing that they have data on. I love that there's a data section. Data on every student, such that they know when one student in a class of 40 is struggling. They know what time they submit their homework versus others. They know what they've scored for the past 3 or 4 years, and they have the graph. Are they doing better? Are they going down? So those are the kind of solutions that are building. So even as we think about education, let's also think about what are the kind of solutions we need to build for our education currently. And that if the AI prediction is correct, that in the next 24 years, we will be like that. The tools that will help us get there will be built by you and me, and it's here in this room that they will all be done. Next, because of our time. Public transportation. So this is where we are, Mile 3 bus, and this is where AI says we can get to. What do we need to do to move from here to there? What kind of solutions? Good roads, true, because you can't drive, you cannot find buses in bad road. So good roads, true. What else? Data development. Mental development, good point. So even people that are jumping from here should know that you cannot jump from this bus. So it's a different kind of hair. So mental, good. Yes? Anybody? Road network, good. So even internal roads as well, not just bigger roads. Yeah? One of that, if you move to the next slide, you see in Kenya. So Kenya has now thought about, because I visit Kenya often because of my work. In Nairobi, through the OCT app, you can pay for keke from your phone. So even not just the big metro buses, even the matatus and the rickshaws, they've digitized them so much that I know I can order keke to go somewhere, and it takes me there. I know how, if I go to the app on OCity, I know how many keke are in an area. Do you understand? Do we have that? It comes down to data, right? And some of the tools to build that already exist, things like satellite technology and stuff that are already building, ensuring that there's unique identification codes and stuff. So even Kenya is thinking of how in their local setting, they can bring digital in there to make sure that they solve the problem better. Next slide, because of my time. The big one, energy. Here's a picture of Port Harcourt flying into Port Harcourt. It looks very dark. Everything there is generator. And this is where AI feels we can be. What do we need to do to move from here to here? Yes, no, speak. Because of our time, I won't be able to give you the mic. Just speak. Feel free to speak. Yes. Speak. Anyone? Any thoughts? Yeah, say. Okay, let him say. Solar, yes. Solar is good. I have solar at home as well. That's what has saved me from all of the power issues that we have. Solar is great, but solar is not the only way. There's so many other things that we should consider. Being river state, it means that we have a lot of rivers and water around us. Our name is Rivers now. So hydro is something that our state governments, as far back as the 1990s, should have been thinking about and building in. Such that now, people see how Abia State is almost immune, right? They are looking at us and saying people are like village people because they now have their own grid system. River State should have its own grid system so much that we can even start selling power to other states down south, right? So that's one thing we should think about. So those are a few solutions. If you go to the next slide, I think Morocco is doing something really great because for them, and I think with power, what you think about is what is abundance to you? For us, is rivers, water, right? So we can use hydro. For them, they're in the Sahara deserts. So it's solar that works for them. They're building what is going to be one of the world's largest solar plants. Look at all those things around our solar panels. Deep in Sahara Desert, they're building all of that, and their plan is, I think over the next 3 to 4 years, 50% of their national energy will come from solar. That's vision, right? So it means that for the coming election, we don't want to hear people start singing and dancing and drinking beer. Tell us how many percentage of our electricity will come from dams in river states. That's what we should be asking as smart people, right? So that's the kind of things I want to see us discussing as people in this time. Next slide, because of our time. Primary health care, I love that Health Stack had started to solve some of those problems already, like locating hospitals and stuff, right? But this is what our primary health care centers often look like. Mostly deserted. Quite a bit of work is happening slowly to build them and bring them back up, but many of them look like this. AI feels like we can look like this in 24 years. What do we need to do to move from here to here? I know data is one of them, as she mentioned. So health data needs to be digitized and accessible. So accessible for people who have internet and those who also don't have internet. Whether it's sending a code like USSD, they can get their health information. That needs to be thought about. What else can we do to move from here to here? Good facilities. So like MRI machines, all of those kind of things. Diagnostic tools, yes. What else? Power supply, very good. Power is very key as well. Example, Rwanda is testing a blood delivery system with drones so that when there's emergency, person gets an emergency, a healthcare worker nearby can trigger a system, and Zipline, a Rwandan startup, can deliver with blood through drones to that particular place. And they've been testing this now, I think, for like 2 or 3 years, and it's already working. So let's even think of what our digital health solutions can be for us here. Next slide. I have 2 more minutes. And this is the last one. Waste management. This one annoys the hell out of me. Does this annoy you? Like if I see it, I feel like I want to slap myself. I want to slap somebody. Right? What can we do to move from here to here? Buy boat. What? Mindset, right? So it means that we need to start telling ourselves that it doesn't make sense to throw trash on the curb. There's no way it makes any sense in the world, right? So it means that we also need to start challenging Ruwama that manages waste to start thinking beyond this thing where they drop waste in the middle, they come with their car and they pack it in the night. There's a better way, right? And if an investor comes into River State and they are driving and they see this, how would they feel? Obviously not good. You think you're living with animals. So it is possible. And so what's a solution? If you go to the next slide, and this is the final slide. South Korea, there's a startup in South Korea that is weighing people's wastes, right? So you pay as you throw. So they are weighing your waste. And if you actually have things like plastic and recyclables, they pay you for it. So you can go to an ATM-looking thing, put in your plastic, and they give you some money for it. That's a way to encourage recycling and stuff, right? So let's think of that kind of solution that we can have. Okay, last slide. In closing, next slide. This is the amount of money River State received from 2009 to 2019. $2.7 billion. This is just the extra money, not our allocation. Our allocation used to pay salaries for civil servants, do road here, XYZ. This is the extra money River State received between 2009 and 2019. $2.7 billion. The question I would like to ask you is, if you had $2.7 billion, what should you do with it? To make our states better, to create jobs. Why have we, as the new elite, not started to question why our state resources are not being used correctly? Why are they not used to solve problems? Why are they not used to do the things that we need? I think the last slide has a quote. Go to the last slide. Who's there? This last slide has a quote from, next slide. Who is moving me? Yes, the last slide has a quote from, this is the founder of Dubai. Everyone wants to go to Dubai now. I mean, apart from this crisis, the fact that they were able to build themselves this high. And this quote, he says, "The future belongs to those who can imagine it, design it, and execute it. It isn't something you await, but rather something you create." We await the future a lot in this part of the world. We wait for things to happen to us, and then we act. But if we actually do take time, as the new elites, as the new thinkers, to imagine the future we want to see and build it, I'm sure we'll achieve so much more. So thank you so much. Please visit rivers2050.org to check out more about our work. Thanks, guys.